Hey, party on, Wayne. Starts right up, cold start, the Mirthmobile. Need a ride? Dude. All right, welcome to Car Shops and Collections. We've got not one, but two movie cars to show you today. Chris is the owner, and he's nowhere to be found, so why don't we knock on the door and see if he's here.
Don't tell me. You're JC, and you're from Car Shops and Collection.
It works! It works!
Come on! Hey, my name's Chris Sandford. Today I'm going to show you my movie cars.
Chris, man, again, dude, thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited we finally got to pull this off. We've actually been working on this for months. So this is really cool. First things first, can we pull the DeLorean maybe out of the garage into the sun?
Sure. Okay. You want to open the door?
Absolutely, the gull wing doors, for sure. So right here, right?
That's the one.
The noise. Oh, dude.
Should have bled those brakes.
Yeah, Chris just put in new brakes this afternoon.
There you go.
And there's the sports almanac right there. Let's talk about the history of the car first and what could have been, because when they first wrote the script for the movie, they were talking about using a refrigerator as the time machine.
So they talked about using a refrigerator, and there's a nod to that in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Uh-huh.
At one point, there's a nuclear explosion, and he jumps in a fridge, and it blows him down the road or whatever, and he hops out and says, "What year is it?" That's a nod to Back to the Future, yeah.
And then once they did lock in the DeLorean and they were getting ready to start producing the movie, Ford reached out and said, we will pay you X amount of money if you use a Mustang. And let's see, what was it? Bob Gale famously said, Doc Brown doesn't drive a effing Mustang. It was Zemeckis who came to Gale when they were doing the refrigerator and said, don't you think Doc Brown would be smart enough to put the time machine in a car? That way he could take it with him. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that is a good idea. And they were looking around for cars to use, and DeLorean was available, and he was currently in litigation for that whole deal.
The cocaine issues, sure, yeah.
So they figured they'd use a DeLorean because not only did it look cool, but also he's on TV every day.
Yeah.
So they figured it would help get buzz for the movie if they used his car.
And it's certainly, I couldn't imagine this being a Mustang.
No.
It's something about the DeLorean that just added extra punch to the movie, an extra punch to the time machine.
Even when the way they tied everything in with the comic book Spaceman from Pluto, and the spaceship has a gull-wing door.
Yes, yeah, futuristic.
Yep, it looks like it.
You buy this car, it's already converted to a time machine, or is this a straight DeLorean when you bought it?
When I bought it, it was a straight DeLorean.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you did all this yourself?
Yep.
Come around the back here. Can we break down some of the things that we see on the back of the DeLorean? Because you're obviously an expert on this.
Yeah, so this one's unique in the sense that it's set up for the Mr. Fusion from the end of the first movie and the second movie. But if you got any banana peels, you can throw them.
Throw them in there,
But I started out, most people do a Mr. Fusion conversion because it's pretty easy. This plate covers where the plutonium chamber would go.
Okay.
And then you only have basically three parts. The first part, this black part, is called a Singer libroscope. And it's what's used on the International Space Station to tell you the center point of your mass and weight of your overall cargo. Then there's a Krupp's 223 coffee grinder on the top. Those are pretty easy to come by. But doing that means that you don't have to get all this stuff for the plutonium chamber. So I was collecting things for Mr. Fusion at the same time collecting things for the plutonium chamber. And as it turned out, I'd collected everything I needed for the plutonium chamber, and I'm like, well, crap, now I have both.
Yeah.
Let's make it do both. So I can take this off, and I will, and put the top of the plutonium chamber on it, and then it goes to the version 1 car.
I think this is probably top 10 replicas in the country.
Hey, thank you.
It really is. You showed me plenty of pictures, and this car has a very famous Las Vegas connection. Was the Stanley Cup inside this one?
Stanley Cup was in it, yeah.
Got the photos, so drop the photos in.
Stanley Cup was in it, and as well as the owner was in it. He rolled into the arena holding the sports almanac.
Where Vegas Golden Knights play. And so, I mean, that's a really cool thing to have the Stanley Cup inside here.
They even tried to stuff it in Mr. Fusion to see what would happen.
Yeah, it didn't work, did it? The inside, let's come, the inside of this thing is, I mean, you have the details you have. And as far as the movie itself, oh, the sound. As far as the movie itself, they had 3 cars, right? 3 DeLoreans they used?
So they had 3 DeLoreans that were mainly used. They had 6 total, because something was breaking on them all the time. There was the A car, which is currently at the Peterson Museum in LA.
And that was like the hero car. That's the one that was done.
Yeah, that's the car that you see roll off of the back of Doc's truck in the mall parking lot.
Okay.
There was the B car that was used for all the driving shots.
For stunts and still done well, right?
Still done well, but there was a few things that were different between all of them, since it didn't have to have so many interior shots.
Yeah.
A lot of the interior was done, but maybe not done as well as the A car. That car was destroyed at the end of the 3rd movie on a railroad track.
Oh, yes, the train hit it.
Right.
They wanted to do that because they wanted that effect.
Right, because they wanted people to go, oh my God.
Yeah, as a fan, you're thinking it's not going to happen. And when that happens, like, this is it. They just destroyed the time machine.
There is the C car, which they immediately cut in half.
Okay.
And put on a gimbal rig so they could get all the interior shots, and they could also get the shots of it flying. Mainly because back then, the cameras weren't tiny.
We're talking, the movie came out, what?
85?
Yeah, so we're talking 80, 83.
You're talking like Panaflex, the huge cameras, and there's no way to fit 3 people in this car and have room for cameras. So they cut it in half to get all those shots.
Why don't you sit in the driver's side? I'll sit in the passenger side, 'cause I want to talk about a couple things.
Sure.
The attention to detail inside this DeLorean, it's unreal. And one of the things, too, is the first prototype, when they designed it for the movie, this was super high, was it not? And they couldn't do that because you can't have, it almost cut off the passenger, and you couldn't do that because you needed to see each other.
Exactly. The first prototypes, the first drawings of it, had this sort of cut off, and there was like an IBM keypad here and everything. But you couldn't get any shots through the car. So then it turned into them going, okay, well, what do we do? Figure it out, basically. There's a story where they're told they need to build a flux capacitor, and they ask, well, what's a flux capacitor? And they go, well, we don't know, but we got to build one. It's weird to think that these guys are going around. It's one of the most iconic things.
Yes.
And nobody knows what it looks like yet, you know?
The cassette player, too, if you see the movie, everyone notices the cassette player that's there. This is just, I mean, it's October 21st, Back to the Future Day.
So we can swap that out to something.
We can change it. We go back to an hour ago and redo my intro for the show.
And I have this one set up, too, where I can hit that, and it'll give me the temperature and humidity as well. So it's always good to know.
And this is how it was in the movie, with the dial pad?
Yep. So if we go back, there you go.
And the clock up here?
Yep, that clock was a pain in the butt to get. I actually found that in Germany.
You did?
Yeah. Finding a little copper clock is not an easy task.
So one of the guys that worked on Knight Rider, the kit car,
Michael Chauffet.
worked on the design of the DeLorean, correct?
Correct, Michael Chauffet. And he's probably the sweetest man you could ever hope to meet in your life.
Back here, too, this little shield eyes from light. The Doc Brown, little Doc Brown.
It's actually signed by Christopher Lloyd.
Is it
If
really?
you look down, there's a brass plate up there, and you can see it.
Okay, was this an urban legend? Because this is so cool, because your knowledge of Back to the Future and the car is just, you're an expert. Was it true, I'd heard, that the original movie, or one of the scripts of the movie, they were having to, in the movie, go to a test site in order to get
So the end of the
plutonium
first
to
movie,
get Back to the Future.
right? At the end of the first movie, they were going to have an atomic bomb go off,
Okay.
and that was going to create the power to go through time,
Yeah.
right? However, they were running low on budget,
Oh, okay.
and building a. Well, now if you think of the movie Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
so that rig that they built in Oppenheimer to drop the bomb down, that was essentially what they were going to do and have it power the DeLorean in some way.
Mm-hmm.
However, building that rig and dropping a bomb was way out of their budget. And they were on the back lot of Universal.
Yeah.
And the clock tower sits there famously. So they were like, well, what can we do that we don't have to pay a ton of money for?
Yeah.
Well, a lightning strike could do it. Okay, well, and then they rewrote the whole thing for lightning hitting the clock tower. And then there's so many little things in that movie that you can go back and watch, like the farmer that he crashes into his barn and
Yeah.
he's shooting him on the way out. That's a nod to other time travelers, Sherman and Peabody.
Okay.
Remember the little dog and boy from
Yeah.
Rocky and Bullwinkle? So Old Man Peabody is the guy who owned the farm. His son's name was Sherman. So that's a nod to
gosh.
Sherman and Peabody. The time circuits
Yeah.
are colored red, green, and yellow.
Okay.
Do you know why?
No.
Okay, so H.G. Wells' Time Machine, the original Time Machine, had 3 light bulbs on the front of it. One was red, green,
Get
and yellow.
out of here. Are you kidding me?
The I forget the name, but as he's clicking on the giant speaker in the beginning of the movie, one of them is like TS1 whatever. That's a nod to Stanley Kubrick. Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
That same label is on the eye drops that they put in Malcolm McDowell's eyes. Like every bit of the movie is so thought out that you go back even now and you're like, what the heck?
Besides the fact, too, this is a DeLorean, man. This is, I mean, stainless steel, gas under here, right?
Yeah, so you can tell how old a DeLorean is. They were only made for 81 and part of 82, but there's 81s, 82s, and 83s. The reason there's 83s is because you couldn't get a car loan for a new car that was over a year old back then. So they re-VINed 82s into 83s and said, hey, it's a brand new car, there you go. But the original hood, the first gen hood, it's on this car over here actually.
By the way, yeah, Chris just happens to have a second DeLorean under a tarp over here.
And there's usually a third one sitting here too that's my girlfriend's. We actually met at
yeah,
a
so-
DeLorean Owners Club meeting.
Did you really?
Yeah. So this is the gas flap.
Okay.
So you could just lift that up, fill up right there.
Very easy, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of guys don't like these for 2 reasons. Either they rattle, or the edges on these are really sharp. So if you're not paying attention, it'll slice you open.
But this was the later model.
No, this is the very first
The
model.
very first model, which I think is convenient, and they go.
It is really convenient, especially when you don't have that and
Yeah.
your hood release breaks.
How are you gonna gas up your car?
Ask me how I know.
How?
2 days of on the hood with a coat hanger trying to jimmy it open. But it went from this to the one that's on this one,
Yeah.
which is no gas flap and it just has grooves in the hood.
Okay.
Which is the one they used in the movie. And then the 83s, late 82s and 83s were just a flat piece of stainless and they added a little plastic DeLorean plaque down here. The reason they did that is because he was running out of money from day one.
Yeah.
So that gas flap cost money, get rid of it.
Oh, okay.
These grooves cost
Yeah.
money, get rid of them. Yep, if it didn't help it function, get rid of it.
And the famous story that I love is he had some famous investors, including Johnny Carson and Sammy Davis Jr. Johnny Carson was one of the first guys to get a DeLorean when they were delivered to the
Paid him
States.
$5 million to get one.
To get one?
Yeah.
He's driving it to the Tonight Show to do a show. The DeLorean breaks down. So imagine it's 1981. You're in LA and you're like, well, oh my God, it's a DeLorean on the side of the road. And you see Johnny Carson standing there waiting for AAA to come get him.
Well, even better than that, the way that story goes is Johnny Carson wasn't standing next to the car. The car broke down and he got locked inside of it. So it became this big thing where comedian gets locked in car. So there's a door up right now.
Yeah.
So let's say it looks like this. Door up, door down.
Yeah.
So the solenoids that operate the locks are about the size of your forearm. They're huge. And it's on a master-slave setup.
Okay.
So they pulse, right? if you hit the lock, usually what happens is somebody will get out of the passenger side and they'll fiddle with the lock and hit it, and the driver gets locked in because it'll try to lock, but it can't because the door's up. So it'll pulse again to try to lock, and it does that in rapid succession about 6 times, and your battery's dead. Now, when it happened to me, I was at a gas station, and at the tender age of 40, I still find out things about myself, like I might be a touch claustrophobic. Also, it doesn't matter if you're locked in your new stainless steel tomb. Me and my girl want to get a picture of your car, right? Just get me out of it, right?
Get me out of the car.
JC, you love this? I got some stuff from the movie inside. You want to check it out?
Heck yeah, man. So we're back, and this is your study, Chris?
Yeah,
Your study. And you have some artifacts from the actual movie. What do we have here?
So that's a headset that Christopher Lloyd wore when you first saw him as Doc in the first movie.
Yes.
When he comes out, he's like, "Do you know what this means? It means it doesn't work." That's it.
This is the actual one from the movie.
Yeah.
How did you get this?
It came out for 2015, went on display, and then passed through a bunch of different hands and ended up in ours.
Holy cow, man.
And in the movie, he's actually holding it with one hand.
Yes.
The thing weighs a ton.
Does
And it's
it
on
really?
like a rugby helmet.
Can we take it out? Do you touch it? I'm like, yeah, take it out. This is unreal.
There you go.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, you can put it on. There you go, that way. Go for it. You can see why he had to hold it with one hand. So he's holding it with one hand. He's got the suction cup with the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
This thing is very heavy.
Yeah.
Wow. And what else we have down here?
Wait, you used that word heavy. Is there something worth? Is there a problem with the Earth's
Keep using the word
gravitational
heavy.
pull?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, man, Chris, this is just bonkers, dude.
Yeah, it was in pretty rough shape when we got it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're such a historian in the movie.
We sent it out and got it refurbished.
Okay, the almanac's back here.
That's actually, pull it out. So the almanac's in the car. That's actually, ooh la la. So don't want to get busted.
Yeah.
Here's a coin from Biff's Casino. Fun fact, what casino was it?
The Plaza.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Was this actually in the movie?
Yeah, so they used the Plaza Hotel, the facade, and then
Yeah.
they changed it to Biff's Pleasure Paradise.
But was this in the movie?
No, that's just that's reproduction.
But that's cool, man. And then
Some of the notes and stuff.
Gonna play some Van Halen on here?
There you go.
Put it on, Gene. Dude.
Actually got the JVC cassette recorder in the other room.
This is just a treasure. Can you keep going? There's more.
Keep going.
All right. So the plates here, out of time.
So that was actually one of the ones. This one was from Universal. And then this is a redone from.
Done, yeah.
Yep, from the actual plate.
Classic. Just a side note too. I mean, just that old school California plate.
Yep.
That plate is such a cool plate. Oh man, it's full of treasures back here.
You got the coaster there from Biff's.
Coaster.
Under that should be the notes that Marty left Doc. There's a flux capacitor drawing on a napkin.
You catching all this, Gene? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And then do not open until 1985.
I think we're past that date now.
Yeah, we can open it up, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then this was what?
That's
He wrote it.
1885.
Yeah, he wrote it to Marty, right? Man, oh man. This is unreal. Dude, this is absolute. You ready for this? Oh my gosh. That's a trip. The photo. Wasn't Doc like, this is obviously Photoshopped. Your brother's arm is missing. Wasn't that the scene where you noticed the hand was missing?
I don't think they had Photoshop back then.
Yeah, they didn't have.
Oh, was the line though? Where Doc
he
said
said
it was fake?
he said it was doctored somehow
Doctored
or something like that.
Uh-huh. And that's when they realized, like, oh, he's disappearing.
Save the clock tower. Is the
flyer.
phone number on the back? Jennifer?
Dude, cool. Awesome. All right, let's go outside. Get the hoverboard.
That's Biff's.
Biff's hoverboard.
And there's a Rising Sun one.
How do you get these things?
So you got to make them. A lot of them you have to make. A lot of the stuff on the car you have to make because it wasn't real stuff.
Yeah.
On top of that, a lot of it is Michael Chauffet. There's stuff everywhere. He found it.
Now we're in business. I mean, Chris, you have everything.
Well, over here, we've got the box of plutonium.
Oh my gosh. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the opening scene when Marty McFly is in Doc Brown's place by himself. And you see all this random stuff. You see the little nods to the movie. And this is, look at that.
I think there still might be some fuel in here. Let's find out.
Oh, but we need our radioactive suits.
We got our suits, Gene. And just like that, we got the first version, right?
Yep.
And this was a hubcap to a Dodge Polara?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a Dodge Polara hubcap, and then on top of that is a there we go. It's a stator from a second stage stator from a G jet turbine engine.
And then the plutonium would go in there, right? What'd you do today? I put plutonium in my time machine.
Yeah, as you do. And you're good to go.
I must have said wow and gone 1,000 times during this episode. All right, we've got one more car.
Sure.
So we've got the AMC Pacer, the Mirthmobile from Wayne's World.
Yep. You need a daily driver, right?
Is this your daily driver?
It is. It is.
This is such a unique vehicle. What made you decide to buy this?
So the idea came up like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have the Mirthmobile? And started looking around, and there was a guy in Reno who bought one brand new car his entire life. It was this car.
Okay.
And he drove it until the day they took his license from him.
So you're second owner. Of
Second
this car.
owner, yeah.
This car itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, no door sag. All the trim is there. Glass is good on it. It's like driving a lazy boy down the street. It's amazing.
I've never been inside an AMC Pacer.
Oh, get in. It's comfy.
The one from the movie though was yellow. I know they painted
The one was from the movie was yellow, and you can actually look on this side.
it blue for the movie.
They painted it blue for the movie, but it was originally yellow with a blue interior.
Okay.
They added the white inner to the seats.
Oh, in the movie it's white?
Yeah, but you can see that's the yellow. So imagine having a canary yellow car with blue interior. Yeah.
So you painted it. So you painted it.
No, it came this way.
Oh, it came painted.
Yep. But if you open the hood on the movie car,
Yeah.
you can tell like fender wells and everything are this color. Just god awful. It's like driving Easter every day.
Well, there's only and for the movie there was only one car. You have the DeLorean.
One car
six.
from
one for
one
Wayne's
car for the entire movie.
World. I just noticed you have the wheels too in the movie. The wheels are different. The front and back wheels are different.
Right. So the rear wheels, we had a problem finding them, and I figured it's probably just going to be like some cheap Jeg wheels.
Yeah.
And my buddy Mike is looking, and he's like, "Wait a second, are these trailer rims?" And we hopped online. Sure enough, they're 14-inch trailer rims, a triangle spoke.
And that's what they used in the movie was trailer rims.
Yeah.
How much glass is on a Pacer?
All of it. All of it.
That's why. Well, I've always heard because there's so much glass that the interior cracks. This is not really cracked for.
No, but it gets hot.
Can I sit in it?
Yeah, go for it. It definitely gets hot. There's one windshield available currently in all of North America.
It's hot.
That windshield is $3,000, and then you still have to pay for shipping.
Where is it here in the States?
That's the only one in the States that's available.
It's a windshield. So what? 91,000 miles?
Yep. The rear tail lights are $600 on a piece on this. The parts are worth more than the whole.
And you're working on.
The licorice rope dispenser, yeah.
And then also wasn't there the cup dispenser in the movie too?
So there's a cup dispenser over on the passenger side, a beverage gun, and then there was this little desk sort of looking thing. That was actually there so they could mount cameras to it.
Oh, all right.
And you notice too that door
Yeah.
is quite a bit smaller than this door. So do this for me. Put your hand up right where that door,
Right here.
right there?
Yep.
Yeah. This one comes to here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, come over and look at this door.
So why are the doors different sizes?
For passengers.
More room to open up.
More room for the passenger. Look at how big this one is.
Oh, you can just feel it when you open it.
Yeah.
That door is huge. It's colossal.
Which means that this has to be a different piece of glass than that one, right? The other funny thing is there are right-hand versions of this car. but they didn't swap the doors. So in the right-hand drive version, driver gets this enormous door. Everybody else has to file through the little one.
Now, do I have it right as far as the actual one from the movie? They gave it away in an MTV contest, so someone won it. The car sat there until Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars bought the car.
Bought it, restored it.
He restored it and then sold it at Mecum.
He sold it at Mecum. That guy had it for about a year and then put it up, I think, again at Mecum.
Yeah.
And it brought in $72,000.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So the original one has been restored. It's out there somewhere, still exists.
And the Mirth limo still exists as well.
What was the Mirth limo?
So in the second movie, when they do Wayne stock, it's the Mirthmobile, but stretched out into a limo.
Really?
Yeah, Aerosmith shows up at the end of the movie.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that car is out there?
Yep. So, the other thing I got to get for the dash is after he made some money, the CD player, the Walkman. Yeah. The car itself, though, didn't have a cassette player in it. The original radio is an AMC AM radio, right?
These seats too are super comfy.
They just feigned that they were putting a cassette tape into the car when they did the Bohemian Rhapsody thing.
Can you speak to this too? I mean, gosh, you're so knowledgeable. That there's scenes where Mike Myers is not really bouncing his head so much because he hurt his neck from the actual doing that scene over and over and over again.
So in order to get any kind of sound in here, I put in that little preamp and just hooked it to a Ryobi drill battery for the time being.
Sure.
And then it links to my phone. So there you go. You can doot, and we'll go bink.
Yeah, it's fine. But so we can't hear the audio, but right now
Bohemian Rhapsody.
we're about to play
Digital
Bohemian
Rhythm.
Rhapsody. We can't air the audio, but I want to enjoy this moment. I want to sit in the Mirthmobile with Bohemian Rhapsody playing. Get in here, Chris.
You got it?
We can't play the audio because of YouTube copyright, but we can enjoy the moment. Two of us can.
Yeah. DeLorean gets a lot of attention.
Hold on a second. 1992 JC is losing his mind right now. I'm sitting inside the Mirthmobile. Just finished listening to Bohemian Rhapsody. Holy cow. Life is crazy.
So stock DeLorean gets you a decent amount of attention.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A time machine trumps that 100-fold.
Yes,
They get you an uncomfortable amount of attention. I was surprised at how much attention a Mirthmobile gets you.
I'm sure.
They made somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1.5 million of these things over 5 years. Where are they? But everybody's mom had one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll be driving down the road and like, my mama had one of them. Oh my God.
Well, Chris, man, thank you so much for taking your time this afternoon to show us these cars. And I called you a car cowboy earlier because you also have the Jeep from Jurassic Park. You said that you have the Batmobile. So he has a whole slew of other cars we have to come back and film sometime. But man, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely.
This was an absolute treat, buddy. This was a treat.
You want to hit the road, eat some licorice?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
If you want your car, shop, or collection featured on the show, then shoot us an email at carshopsandcollections@gmail.com. That's carshopsandcollections@gmail.com. And thanks for watching, and be sure and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Cars, Shops, and Collections.